Hello Year 7 and welcome to your second lesson this week on The Tempest by William Shakespeare. What I'd like you to do is to find your exercise book, or if you don't have that, to find some paper or create a Word document on your computer. Today's date is Wednesday the 17th of June 2020. The title is The Tempest by William Shakespeare. Your subtitle is Character Analysis and your key words are these. Naive, meaning innocent and inexperienced. Villain, a wicked or evil character. And soliloquy, a speech a character gives when alone on stage. The character shares their honest thoughts with the audience. Again, you just pause the video here so that you can write those down in your exercise book, and I'll see you on the next slide. The first thing you're going to do today is to find this video on YouTube. It's the animated tale of the Tempest. The version of the Tempest that you watched on Monday's lesson didn't use Shakespeare's words. Instead, it used modern language. So to deepen your understanding of the plot and to hear the original language, you're going to watch this shortened animated version. It should take about 30 minutes to watch. When you found it and watched it, come back to this video and I'll take you through the activities for today's lesson. The first character that we're going to look at is Miranda. Miranda is the daughter of Prospero. Her name, Miranda, was invented by Shakespeare, and it implies from the Latin a sense of wonderment or admiration. Miranda has lived on the island since she was a small child. The only people she can remember meeting are her father and Caliban, until she meets Ferdinand and falls instantly in love with him. At the end of the play, she sees the other men on the island and she's amazed, and she says this speech which is quite famous. She says, "Oh wonder, how many goodly creatures are there here! How beauteous mankind is! O brave new world that has such people in it." So she looks at the men on the island and she feels hopeful for humanity. So she really represents a sense of hope for the future as she sees all the good in humanity and she's looking forward to her new life off the island. So what I'd like you to do is to write down in your exercise book or wherever it is you're keeping your notes the title Miranda. Now I've written down two words that I think describe her: caring and innocent. I'd like you to think of 3 or more words that you could add to that list to describe Miranda. So pause the video here and write down a few more, and we'll discuss some words to describe her on the next page. So I first thought of Miranda as being caring and innocent. She cares a lot about the people that she sees on the shipwreck, and she's also innocent. She has led quite a life that's been very protected from all the things that have been going on in the world. I wonder what else you wrote down about Miranda. Here are some ideas that I thought of. They're not all of the ideas, so you may have some others that you've put down which might also be correct. Now, I said that she's controlled because she's very controlled by her father. Her father controls everything and everybody on the island. He is really a puppet master. He brings Ferdinand to her and she falls in love with him. He makes Ferdinand prove himself to her. He also controls every other event on the island. So although she may feel that she's free, perhaps she's not as free as she actually thinks she is. She's also naive. She's quite sweet and innocent. She has lived a very protected life in a lot of ways, away from other people and the evil that they do. She's loving And as soon as she sees Ferdinand, she falls instantly in love with him. She also loves her father, and in a lot of ways, she's willing to forgive the bad things that Caliban has done. She's excited about the new life that she sees, and she's excited about the possibilities of the world, expanding off the small island that she lives on. And she's hopeful. Perhaps that's what she represents for us, a sense of the hope for the future. The second character that we're going to look at is Antonio. So in your exercise book, can you write the title Antonio? Now, Antonio really is the villain of the play. He's the baddie. Antonio is Prospero's younger brother, and he plotted to take his brother's title of Duke of Milan, and he would have been quite happy to see Prospero and Miranda die, and he probably believes that they are dead. He has no idea at all that he has been brought to this island to be confronted by his brother. Antonio, when he gets to the island, encourages Sebastian to kill his own brother so that he can become King of Naples. And he says to him, "And look how well my garments sit upon me," meaning, look how well I fit the role of Duke of Milan now that I have taken the title from my brother. And Shakespeare often uses this sense of garments, of what people wear, as the outer showing of their status. But it makes us think, is he really worthy of the title that he's taken? So underneath the title Antonio, I've written here a couple of words that I would use to describe him, which are untrustworthy and dangerous. Can you think of 2 or 3 more words that you could add to describe Antonio? So you can pause the video here, write a few things down, and then on the next slide we'll have a look at some ideas about his character. So I thought I would describe Antonio as untrustworthy and dangerous. He's untrustworthy because he's betrayed his brother, and he's dangerous because he would continue to kill people and would help to kill the actual King of Naples given the chance. You may have come up with some of these as well. I said he was cruel because he didn't care about what happened to his brother and his niece. Violent, he draws his weapon in order to kill people. I said he's a tempter. He tempts other people into doing bad things. He's jealous. He's the younger brother, and therefore he grew up thinking he would never be the Duke. So he's jealous of the status and the power that his brother was given just because he was the older brother. And he's rather arrogant. He's very pleased with himself. He's pleased that he is the Duke of Milan. So what sort of things did you come up with? So let's have a think about Prospero. Now, Prospero is the rightful Duke of Milan. His brother, Antonio, as we heard in the last slide, stole his title and left him and Miranda to die. But he survived on this island for years, caring for his daughter and waiting for an opportunity to face his enemies. Prospero has developed some magical powers through studying ancient arts, and because he captured the magical sprite Ariel, he has total control over events on the island. It's probably not fair to say he's captured the magical sprite, but he has control over Ariel because Ariel has agreed to serve him, because one of the first things that Prospero did on the island was freed Ariel from a tree where she'd been imprisoned. So Prospero has a lot of power and control on the island. So the audience might be expecting Prospero to take violent revenge on his enemies, but he doesn't do that. He does torment them for a while with these rather frightening magical visions. Then he reclaims his title, allows his daughter to marry the King of Naples' son, and forgives his brother. He accepts that his focus on magical learning distracted him from his duties as a duke, and he vows to do better. We might be a little surprised by this. Perhaps we would have expected that he would kill his brother to reclaim his title. But this is what he says. He says, "No, for you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my dukedom of thee, which perforce I know thou must restore." So he actually forgives his brother. He knows what his brother's like, he knows what his brother has done, but he also knows his brother must restore him to being the rightful duke. So this is a play not so much about revenge, but perhaps more about forgiveness. So write down the title Prospero. Here are 2 words I've used to describe him. Can you add a few more? So I've described him as magical, but also protective. He's very protective of his daughter, Miranda. So pause the video here and see if you can think of a few more that you could say about Prospero. So magical and protective, I've said. I wonder what else you thought about Prospero. Here are some things I thought of. He's powerful. He's very powerful on this island. He controls everything. He's like a puppet master. Through Ariel, he has created the storm, the shipwreck. He's placed everybody around the island. He's directing everything of where all of the characters go. He's quite controlling too, as going along with being powerful. He's controlling of everything that's there, including his daughter and his daughter's relationship. Although in the previous slide he does forgive his brother, at the beginning of the play he's very, very angry at what's happened to him. You might find at this point that you've come to the end of your English lessons hour. If that's the case, then you can choose to do this challenge task if you would like to, if you'd like to spend more time on the Tempest. If not, I'll see you again on Friday. So the challenge task, for those of you who have time to do this, or for those of you who are interested in developing your understanding of the character of Prospero, what I'd like you to do is to find this link here, which is on Show My Homework, and it's a scene where we see Ariel being summoned by Prospero after he has set the storm. So spend a few minutes watching that and then come back to this video. So we can see in that scene how much Prospero is keen for these people to come to the island. Here's a speech between Miranda and Prospero. Miranda says, "Heaven thank you for it, and now I pray you, sir, for still 'tis beating in my mind your reason for raising this sea storm." And Miranda asks her father why he's made this very scary tempest out at sea. She's worried for the people there, and he starts off explaining to her why it is that this has happened. And he says to her, "Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady hath mine enemies brought to this shore, and by my prescience I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence if now I court not but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop." And what he's saying to Miranda there is he explains that his enemies have been brought close to the island, and he believes This is an important moment in his life that he must not waste, and that luck or fate has given him this opportunity to put things right. So your challenge task, if you have time to do this, is to write Prospero's speech. So there is Prospero waiting for his enemies to arrive on this ship, brought ashore by this storm that he has whipped up. What's he going to be thinking about? So he's on stage on his own and he's speaking his secret thoughts. This is called a soliloquy, where an actor is on stage on their own, talking directly to the audience. How does he feel about the arrival of his foes, his enemies? Does he, at this point, intend to forgive his enemies, or is he set on revenge? How does he feel about having so much power? And how will he explain everything to his daughter Miranda? So if you have time, your challenge is to think as if you are Prospero about what's happening. On the next slide are a few sentence starters to get you going. Maybe I've waited for this day for so many years. Today I feel, or I've created this storm so that, or when I remember my enemies, I think about, or the great power I now possess is, or I must tell Miranda. So have a go at doing that for your challenge task. That's the end of the lesson for today, and I'll see you again on Friday for the lesson. We're going to be having a look at the character of Caliban. Bye bye for now.